All my life, I've done what men told me. Well, I can't have that anymore. We will win. I take my love, take it down.
In our history here at Contenders, this is the first time we have had an all-female panel. That says something about these projects indeed. I'm going to start at the end of the movie, not to give anything away, but there's this extraordinary crawl at the end of the movie that talks about all the countries and when they got voting rights. And then the last one, I think Saudi Arabia, it says pending. It's amazing that it's still going on.
15, yeah.
Pending.
And Switzerland, 1971, which always surprises people.
Wow, I know. So what was it about this story? How did you come upon this to do this as your next film?
Well, I hadn't been taught it at school, and it was such a key moment. It was the biggest social movement in our history, and there'd never been a big screen version of it. And it felt overdue in terms of resurrecting this story, and really timely. It felt like it resonated with so much of what was going on around the world in the 21st century.
Meryl Streep, who's in the movie very briefly, really, it's a cameo, plays sort of the head of the movement in hiding, said every daughter should know this history. She's been very, very supportive and out there trying to tell people because it's very important.
She's been fantastic. I mean, it was actually Carey's idea to cast her. We wanted an iconic actor to play an iconic role. She's only in it for those few minutes, but she lights up the screen, and she was, you know, she's such a great advocate for women in the film industry and beyond, and she couldn't have been more supportive.
It's a fictional character in a real world of real events and everything else. What was the research, and how did you create this backstory and the whole character of Maud Watts with it?
Well, because Sarah and the gang had been working on it for such a long time, they'd collected a pretty extensive library of research. So when I came to the project, I came like 9 months before we started shooting, and so I had a lot of time to kind of get my head around it. And it was lots of background, you know, what the working conditions were like for those women, and they were brutal, you know, the physical problems they had from working in places like the laundry, and then just what their daily lives were like, you know, the demands on them looking after their families and working and feeding their whole families. And then we also had some really interesting people come in to talk to us, and actually one of them was a man who had been, as a protest, he had been force-fed in protest against force-feeding. So he'd agreed to go through it, and he talked to us about what it was like to be force-fed and to go on a hunger strike. So we sort of covered everything, really.
We all know you from the movie, you know, one of your movies, An Education, but it sounds like you got an education doing this film.
Yeah, massively. And it was great, you know, it was so amazing to get to read, you know, letters written by these women in prison and their diaries and, you know, all of the incredible speeches that they made. It was just brilliant. I loved it.